Mattel captured the license to produce WWE figures beginning in 2010, ending Jakks Pacific's 14-year run as the creator and distributor of WWE toys. One of the more successful lines that Jakks produced was Classic Superstars, which had seen an overwhelming amount of stars from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Hoping to collect fans of the Jakks Classic Superstars line, Mattel would create a flashback line of its own, WWE Legends. How would they entice people to make the jump from one collection to another? What was made when Mattel resurrected the line in 2020, and what was canceled? Are there really 22 different series of WWE Legends? Let's find out with the complete history of Mattel's WWE Legends. Designers at Mattel took a different approach. The figures were released in elite style, which meant extra articulation, better scaling, and more detail. Instead of re-releasing Legends and attires that had been made in Jakks Classic Superstars line, Mattel would try a different strategy with Series 1. Hawk and Animal in their NWA attires, Dusty Rhodes in his WWF polka dots, Sergeant Slaughter in AWA attire, Steve Austin with a vest and cloth shirt, and Ricky Steamboat's first WWE figure since the 90s. Seemingly, this was a great strategy, to vary it up from the former Classic Superstar line to hopefully give collectors a reason to purchase the first series. Legend Series 2 followed suit. Iron Sheik, Jake the Snake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, Ravishing Rick Rude, and Terry Funk all saw previously unmade attires on figures. The Kamala figure was definitely an upgrade from the previous Jakks figure. It was around this time that Mattel would produce an exclusive series of Legends for Kmart. You remember Kmart? Featuring repackaged figures with Hall of Fame style packaging and placards that fit in scale with the figures. More exclusives would follow, but first at Toys R Us, where they had their own line of Legends 2-packs. The Bushwhackers, Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, Bob Orton and Roddy Piper were all included in the first series. For whatever reason, they were not a hit and were quickly on clearance. A cancelled Series 2 was planned to include the Rockers and the Von Erichs, but low sales halted those plans. Legends Series 3 was a breakout set and included Hacksaw Jim Duggan, a WCW-style Vader, The Rock, British Bulldog, Brian Pillman, and Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect was the first figure in the Legends line to come with a title belt accessory. Let's take a little break from Legends to discuss the Defining Moments line. Defining Moments debuted on shelves around December 2010, alongside Legends. It was available at all retailers and was priced a little higher than Legends at $24.99 a figure. At that time, a wrestling figure selling at retail at that price was unheard of, and Mattel knew it. So who did they bring in for the first series?
And look at this right now. It exactly looks like me. Not now.
When you need to sell a premium figure, you bring in premium talent. Macho Man hadn't seen an action figure release in over 10 years. This was huge. Oh yeah, HBK and WrestleMania attire too. Not to be outdone, Series 2 included a first-time release in the Ultimate Warrior, as well as The Rock, an Attitude Era attire. Series 3 included Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Triple H. Series 4 included Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker. Series 5 included Bret Hart and John Cena. Even with mega names, the line wouldn't survive and would be found in discount stores that year. The series would return and find its footing in 2014 with a first-time release of Ric Flair. Before the year's end would be another first-time release for Mattel with Hulk Hogan. Here's some other defining moments by the year they were released. 2015. 2016. 2017. 2023, Defining Moments would make its re-return as a Ringside Collectibles exclusive. Cody Rhodes, Bret Hart, Mick Foley, and Shawn Michaels. Back to Legends. Legends Series 4 would kick off 2011. The fourth series included Demolition as singles, The Ultimate Warrior, George the Animal Steel, Hillbilly Jim, and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Series 5 saw Akeem, Bam Bam Bigelow, Macho Man, and the model Rick Martel. The Legends line was losing traction. It didn't have the collector support it needed to continue as its own line. Series 6 looked to be the final series produced, with Eddie Guerrero, two versions of Kerry Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, and The Ultimate Warrior. Series 7 was canceled, with the original lineup to include Andre the Giant, Diamond Dallas Page, Magnum TA, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. A poll was offered to collectors after the demise of Legends to see which they would like to see in Mattel's exclusive web store, Matty Shop. Released from November 2011 to September 2012, Matty Shop would present Andre the Giant, Diamond Dallas Page, The Rockers, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and King Kong Bundy. Miss Elizabeth was planned by Matty Collector, but would be released in the Elite Collection, where Legends would live on, now branded as Flashbacks, and some random sub-series that were exclusive to retail stores. When the Elite series made it to 44, Mattel would drop a special series of figures called Lost Legends, featuring that Magnum TA that could have been a part of Legends Series 7. It would be 8 years after the demise of Legends that an official return would come. Now as a Target exclusive, coming with good news and bad news right off the bat. First, the good news. 2 versions of Greg Valentine. Hey, that's good news, right? And the bad news, the Sting planned for Series 7 would be canceled before it could reach retail. Sting would separate from WWE, and Mattel would have no choice to pull the figure from the lineup. Series 8 would reach collectors before the end of 2020, with Eddie Guerrero, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, 2 versions of Jake the Snake Roberts, and Ultimate Warrior, wearing what he wore in his final WWE appearance in 2014. "2021 looked to be a loaded year for Legends, with 4 new series. Series 9 would give new generation vibes, with $2 Million Mans, Nikolai Volkov, Tatanka, and The Undertaker. Series 10 would include 2 nearly impossible to find figures in stores with DDP and 2 Brutus Beefcake. And more commonly found, Vader and John Cena. Series 11 would include Big John Studd, Macho Man Randy Savage, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Scott Hall. Series 12 included Rowdy Roddy Piper, Junkyard Dog, and Kevin Nash to go with the previous Scott Hall. And Billy Gunn in the DX Invasion attire. Arriving in stores January 22, Legends Series 13, Cowboy Bob Orton in boxing gloves, 2 Jake Roberts, Hurricane helms, and a DX Army Triple H. Legends Series 14 was shown at the WrestleMania Access event in April, with figures reaching retail shelves less than a month later. 2 versions of Edge, Undertaker as Mark Callis, and DX Invasion style Chyna and Road Dogg. Legends Series 15 and 16 were also shown at WrestleMania Access. Legends Series 15's impressive lineup included Lex Luger in 2 styles, Kane, Stacy Keibler's first action figure in almost 20 years, and completing the DX Army, X-Pac. Series 16 would be equally as impressive, with Rey Mysterio, Acolytes Bradshaw and Farouk, and 2 versions of Molly Holly. Legends Series 17 included Shawn Michaels, the Dingo Warrior or Ultimate Warrior depending on your head preference, AJ Styles, and 2 Ken Shamrocks, with the Blue Tights version as the Chase variant. Fatu and Samu would get their first figure releases, along with Chase variants for both, in Legends Series 18. WCW style Hulk Hogan and Paul E. Dangerously would make up the rest of the assortment. Legends Series 19 included a first-timer in the line with Brother Love. The rest of the assortment fit in with that 1997-ish timeframe with The Undertaker, and Nation of Domination's Kama and D'Lo Brown. D'Lo would be this series figure with a Chase variant. Legends Series 20's milestone set included Triple H, Mr. Perfect, $1 Million Man, and Greg Valentine's first Elite figure since Legends' return in 2020. Speaking of returns, Mattel would allow collectors a second chance of sought-after classic wrestlers, with the Legends Greatest Hits assortment. All of these figures were made before, sort of, now with some minor differences. Greatest Hits were also available in the primary Elite line, now with 2 series wrapped up, available everywhere instead of only Target. The Iron Sheik, Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Hart, and 2 versions of Andre the Giant would comprise Legends Series 21. Legends Series 22 included 2 more first-time-in-the-line characters, with the Sultan and Captain Lou Albano. Series 22 also included 2 versions of Hulk Hogan. As of August 2023, that is all that's been announced. But with its success at Target, it would appear that there's no end in sight. Mattel seems to have mastered this WWE Legends thing. If you're new to this, the Legends line barely scratches the surface of WWE's classic wrestling roster. If you want to know more about these figures, with pictures, and a collection manager where you can maintain lists of what you own and what you want, go to figurecollections.com. You can manage your collection using our database of figures, which now has over 55,000 total figures. You can even put in the value of what you paid, and it'll show you a total of what you paid for everything. By the way, it's also available as an app. We don't have a Patreon, so if you want to support us, the best way is by grabbing yourself a deal from one of our shops, or download the collecting app I was just telling you about. To stay up on all things FC, follow us here.